Next, we'll turn the floor over to Ms. Aujla. Ms. Aujla, you have 5 minutes for your opening remarks. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Navneet Aujla, and I am the Service Director at Labor Community Services of Peel, or LCSP, a nonprofit organization that provides free employment law services. LCSP works closely with Justice for Truck Drivers, a grassroots advocacy group made up of frontline drivers, a large majority who have personally experienced wage theft and labor violations. Justice for Truck Drivers holds monthly meetings with its members, and we collect data on working conditions through meetings with drivers, surveys, and casework. Today, I welcome the opportunity to speak with you about the changing landscape for truck drivers in Canada. That landscape is dire. I want to be clear from the outset. Our drivers oppose Drivers Inc. But as one driver told us, Drivers Inc. is just one branch on a rotten tree. The real rot is weak enforcement and outdated laws that allow wage theft without consequence and put drivers and the public's lives at risk. The data supports this. In 2000, 70% of confirmed Canada Labour Code violations occurred in road transport. Even though trucking accounts for only 17% of federally regulated workers, that number rose to 85% by 2022. In just the past 2 years, LCSP has received calls from over 300 federally regulated truck drivers reporting labor violations. Despite filing complaints with the federal labor program, we find that drivers are still unable to access their rights, while employers continue to break the law with little consequence. At present, 83 drivers that we represent have Canada Labour Code decisions confirming they are collectively owed $696,000 in unpaid wages. Yet they have been unable to enforce those rulings or recover their stolen earnings. The employers have faced no consequences. Drivers Inc. did not create the exploitation of drivers. The deregulation of the trucking industry in the 90s produced a highly competitive sector dominated by shippers and brokers that rely on low-cost tendering. Transport companies respond to shrinking margins by cutting labor costs and shifting business risks onto drivers and owner-operators. Misclassification has long been embedded in the industry by large and small companies, new and established alike. Drivers Inc. is just one manifestation of this broader problem. As Drivers Inc. companies face increased scrutiny, many simply adopt alternative misclassification models, such as using temp agencies with little capital that can open and close quickly to shift a liability for misclassification, hiring drivers as so-called lease operators, forcing them to lease company trucks while still exerting full employer control, and contracting owner-operators who are classified as independent contractors, even though the company dictates schedules, routes, and conditions of work. This is why addressing misclassification solely through tax mechanisms is not enough. When enforcement focuses on tax compliance instead of labor standards, it ignores the power imbalance in trucking. Employers continue to exploit loopholes while drivers face large tax bills and penalties. Yet that same process does not recover their unpaid wages or benefits that should have been paid by the employer in the first place. Employers break the law, but workers absorb the financial harm. The result for drivers is punishment without protection. It's not just because of misclassification, but wage theft is also built into everyday pay practices in trucking. Unpaid labor is routine in this industry. Many drivers are paid by mile, but mileage is calculated using shortest route apps that do not reflect actual miles driven due to traffic, construction, or detours. The majority of non-driving work also goes unpaid. Drivers routinely report not being paid for required duties such as loading and unloading, inspections, maintenance, and border wait times. Illegal deductions are also widespread. Employers often avoid using company insurance for vehicle or cargo damage and instead withhold drivers' wages, sometimes holding back entire paychecks. Not only are drivers facing declining wages, but these are all forms of wage theft that we get calls about every day. There are deep systemic failures in the road transport sector that must be addressed. Stephen Laskowski, CEO of the Canadian Trucking Alliance, told this committee on October 7th, "Do not trust us. We do not have the proper oversight, enforcement, and penalties." We agree. What is needed is a broad system-wide review of the trucking industry. Drivers are demanding an end to all misclassification practices, not just Drivers Inc., enforcement through labor standards, not tax mechanisms that punish drivers instead of powerful companies, decent wages, payment for all hours worked and all miles driven, an end to illegal deductions and wage theft, real enforcement with meaningful penalties that deter violations and hold employers accountable. Anything less will allow exploitation to continue and drivers will keep paying the price. Thank you.